Hello and welcome to the channel again. This is Sam, trying to spin to win on Zwift. Well, the final stage of the World Tour is upon us. Yes, but it is going to be tough. But we can see the finish line now. So just one more push.
Let's go! Push! Push!
I hope to give it a good go today, but I must admit, I'm looking forward to a couple days off the bike after this, that's for sure. But before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to all you guys out there who watched the vlogs, commented on the videos, and even subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much. I enjoy making these videos and hopefully at least some of you get a few laughs out of them or perhaps some useful information. Either way, your support is much appreciated. Now, let's just a quick look at the GC leaderboard for the CRP category after stage 8. Well, I'm still a first page rider, all the way down in 25th place out of 79 riders that have completed all 8 stages so far. Assuming all 79 riders do complete the ITT, then I need to be ahead of 38 riders to finish in the top half. As such, I think I have around a 3-minute margin on the riders around that position. So unless I completely mess up the ITT, which by the way is a distinct possibility, I should be able to stay in the top half. So it's looking good, but I still have to push hard today to ensure that outcome, and I certainly can't take it for granted yet. As for the top 10, a couple of changes, but again, Elena is still top of the pile, still with a good margin on Mr. Hartley, who's in 2nd place, and Mr. Winkler in 3rd. Okay, let's have a quick look again at today's course, the Richmond loop around. I think this is another good choice for an individual time trial. It's going to be really difficult to manage your effort with all the various small climbs, so hopefully it'll be an interesting race today. Well, here is the Richmond loop around in all its glory. 43 kilometers long with 555 meters of climbing. This will be a tough test indeed. Zwift Insider estimates it will take around 66 minutes at 4 watts per kilo. And looking at some of the results from races completed earlier today of riders who I think are of similar capability as myself, I'm looking at more like 1 hour and 8 minutes or even 1 hour and 9 minutes. We will do 3 laps of the same route, which includes 2 KOMs, the 23rd Street reverse KOM and Libby Hill reverse KOM, as well as a climb the E Main Street. Then we get a bit of flattish section before we tackle the same loop again, but the other way around. As such, we will do the Libby Hill KOM, then followed by the 23rd Street KOM, and finally a climb up the Governor's Street. None of the climbs are long, but they are very punchy, and the key today will be how hard you can go over these hills without building up too much lactic in your muscles. As for my pacing, I will aim to go just under FTP, which by the way is around 300 watts at the moment, on the flatter sections, push a bit over FTP on the climbs, and then soft pedal on the descents to recover. Towards the bottom of the descents, I will push a bit to maintain the speed onto the flat. If I feel like I'm on a good day, I will start pushing a little more on the hills towards the end, but that's on a good day. As for wheels, I will be on the disc wheels today. Okay, let's see how we get on today. Like I said, this is gonna hurt a lot, but we can also see the finish line. So let's do this. And we're off. The last stage of this tour. And as much as I enjoy these FRR tours, I'm ready for a break. I need to let the body recover a bit and absorb the training from this tour, as it's essentially a really intense training block. So for today, I wasn't really sure how the legs would respond. There is, after all, quite a bit of fatigue present. So I decided to go at just under FTP on the flattest sections, or around 290-ish watts for me, push a bit harder on the hills to around 350-ish watts, and then rest and soft pedal on the descents, with a bit of a push at the bottom to maintain the speed onto the flat. And towards the end of the race, then I would try to increase the pace if I could, or more likely, just to hang on for dear life. Well, that was the plan anyway. Let's see how that worked out for me today. A quick check at 15 minutes into the race. We have just completed the first lap of 3 and are now heading down towards the 2 short nasty climbs at the start of each lap. We can see that my power is a bit higher than I wanted ideally, now a bit over 300 watts, but my heart rate on the other hand is about where I want it, and so far I'm feeling pretty good. You can also see my old friend Timo just ahead. From experience, we seem to be of a similar cycling ability, so I wanted to keep him in sight, as it's nice on occasion just to follow a wheel, even though there is absolutely no draft in this race, and let somebody else do the pacing. We are now at roughly 30 minutes into the race, and approaching halfway of this little fun outing. You can see my average watts have now dropped to just a bit over 300, and my heart rate is quite low at around 150. That's because we have just come down the long descent at the start of the lap, so I am preparing myself for the 2 punchy climbs coming up. And yes, Timo is still here. We actually took turns a bit setting the pace, or at least it felt that way. Again, there is no draft, but I always find it mentally easier to follow a wheel. And I wanted to show you what these 2 climbs looked like for me, as they were pretty much a carbon copy of each other on each lap. I push a little right before the steeper sections start, and then I'm out of the saddle as I find it easier to generate power that way. You can see I'm pretty much sticking to my target of 350-ish watts here, but I do up the power a little as we get to the steepest section. As we get to the top, I try to rest a little, and then I fully rest on the descent before I hit the power again as we get to the bottom. And then I push pretty hard here on this little climb. It's short and I know I can rest again afterwards, so I felt it was worth pushing reasonably hard here. And yes, you haven't seen him, but Timo is still here, lurking just behind me. A quick check here at 45 minutes into the race. We are now on the longer, flatter section, and I am starting to feel the effort here. Power is still good at close to 300 watts, and my heart rate's under control, but even so, I can tell the legs are now starting to hurt. And yes, you can see Timo is still here. This time he's setting the pace. We are now 1 hour into the race, and presently going up the Libby Hill KOM. Average power still okay at 295 watts, and I'm working quite hard here, as I know by now we only have 4 kilometers left. Timo is still here, although a couple seconds behind now, and I think, unfortunately for him, I believe he got a short connection drop on this climb. Very unlucky timing indeed, so he falls a little bit behind after this. A quick hop forward here to the start of the last climb. The power is still around 295 watts, so I'm holding it together reasonably well here at the end. I push as hard as I can here up this darn hill. As I can see, I'm going to be close to 1 hour and 7 minutes, which seemed like a good target to go for at the time. I get to the top of the climb, pretty tired, and I have to slow the pace just a little and catch my breath. But after a little bit, I push a bit more, and I roll over the line in just under 1 hour and 7 minutes. Quite happy with that race. I was shooting for around 1 hour and 8 minutes, so a minute to the good is, well, good. Now let's have a quick look at the results. As always with individual time trials in FRR, the position in your race doesn't really matter, as you're compared to the fastest rider in your category on the day. And at the time of this recording, there are still a few more races to go. However, a few comments to make nonetheless. I finished in 17th place in 1 hour, 6 minutes and 55 seconds. As I mentioned earlier, I did a little better than I expected, and on really tired legs going into this race. Thus, I'm really happy with my effort today. Timo finished some 20 seconds after me, but I'm pretty sure that if he didn't have a dropout, he would have been right there with me. Timo, thanks a lot for your company on this race. It helped more than you think to keep the motivation high and keep going. And as I said, there are still a few races to go, but I still think that the time from Mr. Brystein of 1 hour, 4 minutes and 16 seconds may perhaps be the CRP time to beat today. That is over 2.5 minutes faster than me, and I didn't think I was that slow. So a fantastic effort there. I clearly need to up my ITT game if I'm ever to properly challenge in the GC in this category. I do pretty well in the points races it seems, unless there's a massive hill involved, but the ITTs just kill my chances. But as in real life, out on the roads, you need to be a really well-rounded rider if you're going for GC. Time for me to go to work, in other words.
Gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on pushing.
With that, let's have a quick look at the final GC standings for the CRP division. Did I manage to stay in the top half of the leaderboard after all? Okay, the results are in, and the winner is Elena, with a commanding lead as well. She led from start to finish, and nobody could really get close. Some very strong ITT performances, along with very consistent riding in the other stages, made for a winning combination. Elena, from all of us, please select the DRA category next door, will you? Mr. Horning finished in second place, and Mr. Hartley in third. Many congratulations to our podium, very well deserved indeed. And we have 3 ladies in the top 8. Total domination. Chapeau. For me, well, in the end, I did manage to stay in the top half of the leaderboard. So, goal accomplished. I finished 21st out of 77 riders that completed all 9 stages. So I'm really happy with that result. I was getting stronger as the tour went on, and I had some pretty good results for me along the way. So absolutely nothing to complain about. Well, apart from the first ITT, but who remembers that anyway? I did also want to congratulate all riders in the CRP category, especially the full tourists who completed all 9 stages. That is no mean feat by itself, and then to do it in a very competitive category, well, very impressive indeed. So, all in all, a good tour for me. I may just have to set myself a new target for the next one. Top 20. Let's go. All right, post-race thoughts. Last one for this tour, I promise. Good race. I enjoyed it. I find those ITTs much more interesting, where you have to vary your power, and this course certainly made you do that. I started out a little bit too fast again, and I faded towards the end a bit, but I kept it together pretty well, I think, and I pushed pretty hard still and put out good numbers on the hills towards the end. So, not perfect pacing, but not bad either. And I looked at some of the races that were completed earlier today, and some of the guys I know are similar kind of capacity as me. And I thought I would do about 1 hour 8 minutes, and I just snuck under 1 hour 7 minutes. So I'm happy with that race. Although I think I was almost 3 minutes behind the winner in the CRP category in just our race today alone. That's a chap I raced with yesterday in the Queen stage and beat him there. Maybe he was just having a zone 2 ride or something, because today, I think his name is Sure, he absolutely smashed it. So if I'm ever to compete properly for the GC in the CRP division, I need to up my game big time when it comes to ITT, which of course is the hardest thing to train. Go figure. But overall, I can't complain. I'm happy with that. I worked really hard, so I deserve a couple days off the bike now. And then we race again on Wednesday, I think. The dirt race series starts then. So again, thank you very much for watching the vlogs, commenting, and some of you subscribing. Much appreciated. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Well, sadly, that's the end of the world tour for now. I've had a really good time. I've had some average races, such as the first ITT, where I got my pacing completely wrong and I suffered big time. And I've had some much better races, a few podiums, and of course a win on the Queen stage, which I'm proud of. That was a lot of fun. But most important, I've tried to give it my best on every stage, and I think I've gotten a bit stronger through the tour. So hopefully, with the best bit of rest and recovery, this training load will hopefully translate into improved fitness. We'll have to wait and see. Again, thanks to all of you out there who have watched the vlogs and commented on the videos. Again, your support is much appreciated. And hopefully you'll continue watching me on my cycling journey. Next up, in a few days, is the start of the Dirt Racing Series. Really looking forward to that one for a number of reasons, but mainly because we're back to doing shorter Zwift races. I can't wait. With that, it's time goodbye for this World Tour. Hope you had a good one. And this is Sam, trying to spin to win on Zwift. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.